It is great to see you. I'm going to start with a statement that you made just now here at the Breitbart Hall of Fame. As long as I'm around, we will never have a season like we had last year.
Well, we hadn't had one in 12 years. Of course, Drew. Thanks to Drew in those first two for that. But I think it was just kind of a once in a long time thing. I really do. It's really just. It's confidence that won't happen again, but it's confidence in the team that I think we have. I think if the health of our team is better, is about as bad as it could be, and then we add a few pieces in free agency and in the draft, I just don't think we're that far off. I think we can flip the record from what it was. And I'm not saying we will do that, but I do believe we can, and I just hope that everyone's as excited as we are, because I know just from going in the building even early this offseason that there's an energy and an excitement. I don't think not only that comes from being back in San Diego, I think that's given some of it, but I think just because we're determined, we're aggravated about last year, but determined that, hey, we're not doing this again. You know, what do we got to do to get it fixed? So we're fired up.
Now that you've had some time to go ahead and reflect, how much of the season wear on you? The constant speculation, which started really in March about Los Angeles, and then the losing. How much of that did that wear on you personally and on the team as a whole?
I don't think the LA thing weighed on us as much. I really don't. I think as it got later, the last few weeks of the season, last maybe 6 weeks of season, I think they had an owners meeting, and so there was some noise about it. Had we been, sitting there 8-4 going into that last stretch, that maybe could have been a distraction. But I think because our record was what it was, and we weren't right there in the mix, that it wasn't really a distraction. And I think we could more even embrace those last few weeks in the Miami game, and that was a special game. Even though it turns out it's not the last one here, it still was special. It doesn't put a damper on that for me, because that was a night and evening I'll never forget. So I know that exact energy and excitement can't be duplicated every week, because there was a lot of different elements that were fostering that emotion. But hopefully it can. Hopefully that can carry us a little bit. I hope the fans and the community are as excited as we are that we're back, and that maybe they can get re-energized and we can have that stadium. It comes with winning, but we can have that stadium. I think back to when we were rolling in 2009 and even games in the last few years when we've been playing well. It's been an awesome place to play.
I know you followed things the way that we did when it came to LA. How close did you come to looking for real estate? It can't be easy to find the right place when you have a big family and 8 little ones running around.
I didn't get that far. Well, I take that back. I messed around just looking in areas just for fun. Like you just go and type houses for sale and, start looking at all those different communities up there. Yeah. But it was more just for fun, I think. But I did kind of have that drive mapped out, especially once the news came out, kind of where the parcel of land potentially was, right, for the facility. Mm-hmm. I kind of had that drive mapped out to see how long it would take me from home. Because we were going to exhaust all options. It was going to be hard just to pick up and leave. So, yeah, a little bit. It was more kind of, I shouldn't say it was for fun, but it wasn't very, we didn't dig too deep.
One thing you always do at the very final press conference is it'll never be the same Chargers team. I'm pretty sure that Eric Weddle's not going to return. There's some other guys. Malcolm Floyd won't be around. Who do you see as the core of this team moving forward into 2016?
Well, I think I think it's a lot of young guys, but I think it's guys that have the right makeup. The makeup, when you think about it, and I can name a lot of guys, but Hardwick and Clary and Weddle, and I could go on and on of guys that have been the core of this team, Malcolm and many more guys. I think the one element that we all had was how much we cared and how much it meant to us to be a Charger and how much it meant to us to do all we could each week to win the game. And I think the guys that are going to make up this new core, that I sense that same type of mentality and attitude, and I think defensively, I think of, Verrett and Teo and Perriman, and the way Melvin came on this year, and then even young guys like, Jerry Atauchu and Kyle and those guys, and I know that Jalil Adai, those, mentioning Kyle, I know he's a rookie, but they have that, what I think is the right makeup and the mentality. That's defensively, and I think offensively, I like to feel, at least I feel like with me and hopefully Antonio back and Keenan and Danny and some of those same core guys that have been here for a long time. And then you get Orlando and healthy and King healthy and Fluker now going into, what is it, 3 or 4? I get all mixed up how long he's been here. But I think I just like the makeup of what we have and how much we're going to care first. You got to have that first. And then we have to stay healthy. And then it's going to be a new team. But I think when we come in April, you're going to have a bunch that's hungry and still I think the residue from last year will fuel the early on off season because more than other years. You know, a 9-7 year where you just miss the playoffs, yeah, it does. But those don't run into this next year. 4-12, the way it was brutal, and it needs to have us still a little bit upset when we gather. Although there'll be some guys, free agents and draft picks, that go, I had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with that year. But it can't get here fast enough for me. I'm always fired up when it gets to February 8th, as it was this year, the day after the Super Bowl, whatever the day after, because we're all 0-0 again. All that was last year. You know, Denver won the championship last year. In my view, it's all last year. We're all 0-0, and can't wait for it to get started.
Speaking of last year's first-round pick, Melvin Gordon, a lot of expectations, didn't hit the end zone this last season. What do you see in Melvin Gordon? How do you keep a guy's spirits up when he had, by all accounts, a disappointing season?
Well, I think he's going to be fired up, and he's definitely last year's going to make him even more hungry and more determined. Not so much. I hope it's not so much to prove people what he's worth. I don't want that to be the motivation, but I'm sure that'll be some of it. But I think just to for the locker room, say, hey, look, this is what y'all got, and I just want y'all to know you got the player that you thought. And there's a lot of factors. I mean, it's a hard position to play in our offense with what we do offensively and protections, and we ask a lot of him. And then, you know, he had a couple fumbles, and then he got injured, and it just kind of snowballed. So I have confidence in Melvin. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. I think he needs a full off season with us, which he'll have. And I saw him actually the other day in the locker room, and he had a pep in his step a little bit, you know, just from watching some of these playoff games. I think it was after the AFC Championship games, just kind of going, man, we got to get in. And I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. We got to get back in those. It's been since 2007 season since we've been in a championship game. So he'll come back and be better, and he'll fit right in.
Speaking of coming back, two more things. How easy was it for you to go ahead and pick up with Wisenhunt just right away when he comes back?
Yeah, it'll be smooth. You know, just knowing that the terminology will all stay the same is gives you an added comfort level. I think all the guys will be comfortable in that. And you know, and this is not a negative on Frank. Frank did a heck of a job, but I think Wiz will do a really good job of you know, by not being here, he'll be able to really evaluate where we can improve areas and run and pass game and how that can all mesh together. And so I think he'll come in without a biased approach and be able to, but yet knowing what we're doing, because it's the same offense and the same terminology, and we can really just build on what we've done, because we've done a lot of good things offensively. Last year, we need to run it better, but I mean, offensively, what we did in the passing game and the things we did were really good. The thing we have to do is score more. We have to score more points. You know, we have to score more points, and the defense, I know that's their goal, and Pags will tell you the same thing. They have to hold them to less points. You know, what I mean, that's just, you know, we do a lot of good things on both sides. We got to score more. Green Bay, we had no business losing that game. You know, I could name others. You know, they held Green Bay to 21 points in Green Bay, or whatever it ended up being, 20, whatever it was. I don't know exactly, but we didn't. We had 500 yards passing and didn't score. You know, we got to score. So that's one game that as you can tell, I'm still fired up about some of those games, but.
Last thing, Philip, for a guy who's not on social media, technically, you pay attention to everything. I know you see, you hear, you read everything. The Chargers have the number 3 pick, which has never happened since you became quarterback of this team. How much attention, how much film have you watched on a guy like Laramie Tunzel? Just, you know, for throwing a name out there.
Yeah, I've seen him play. I've seen Ole Miss play. They were a heck of a team, and you've seen clips of him. I haven't watched film on him, but he's certainly an awesome player. And I know Tom and John and the whole staff will do a heck of a job of seeing what best fits for us at pick 3. You know, there's going to be guys there probably at pick 3. You'd like to have about 5 or 6 of them. You know, so they'll do a great job, and whoever it is will be expected to be an impact player. I mean, when you're picked right there, you got to come in and help us right now, and whoever that is, and if we stay at 3 or whatever we do, we'll get a guy that is the right guy for us.
We missed the Bolo on the road this season.
I know. We got to win more games.
Thank you.